It's Tuesday night and we've got some crash cars down here at the HGV workshop because you may remember about 7 months ago we had an exercise down here with the Botley Fire Rescue. They came down, the Botley branch of the Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service came down here, did an exercise and cut a dummy out of a crash car. Well, tonight Steve Diaper, our ops manager, has been working tirelessly with Hampshire and Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue Service, and the exercise this time is going to be a little bit bigger. So they've just started setting up for the scene now. They're going to call out 6 appliances in total to come down and cut some actors out of these cars here. The EV is where they're going to be using the most sophisticated equipment. They're going to be doing something to do with thermo-scanning and checking for elements of heat, especially when it comes to batteries and hybrid systems. So we've got Rob, my namesake, here from the Hampshire Fire and Rescue Service as well, and he's going to briefly tell us what's happening here tonight.
Yeah, hello. So what we've got here is we've got a simulated multi-vehicle road traffic collision, an opportunity for our crews to practice their techniques in rescuing those people within our communities who might have found themselves involved in a road traffic collision. Specifically though, we've got an electric vehicle involved, which is a new risk and hazard that we are adapting to, so this gives the crews the opportunity to practice those procedures for dealing with that vehicle-related incident. Yeah, of course, mate, yeah.
So we now have 3 more appliances that have joined us. The exercise is starting. They've got all their briefings done and out of the way. And the biggest change on this exercise from the last one they did is they have got actors actually inside the car with simulated injuries. Okay, Rob, there's a couple of things I've noticed. First of all, the Astra's moved forward and the occupant's been out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So depending on the patient's injuries, what we've identified through recent data is that historically we've traditionally maybe removed the roof around a C-spine injury. A lot of our evidence-based studies, the Exit Project, which is a study we follow, has identified that casualties actually suffer from internal hemorrhage, and those casualties that can self-extricate, we should encourage them to self-extricate. Self-extricate means get them out of the car safely. What we've done in this scenario is we've moved the car away to enable that door to be open, to then enable that casualty to step out, compared to maybe trying to step over what we call the centre console, the bit in the middle where your gear stick is. But it's all about speed of extrication. So we now have that patient out, they're away from the scene, and they can be treated in a much more open space compared to being treated in the car.
So that was a very good explanation there by Rob. We've also got the patient here now that's being given a bit of privacy with a screen here, and they're being treated. Of course, they're all actors in this case, but very much a realistic simulation of what's going on. On the Focus that's flipped onto its side, they've gone for a boot extrication, and very quickly they've got the driver out and onto a stretcher. This is massively impressive.
Step on the hose. No internal bleeding. Wind his legs there, like that. Yep. Right now, are you happy with this progress? Happy? Right, it's fine. Don't get yourself way too big. You're going to have to drag all the sports. You're going to have to be literally like that, and as you feed it, that's how it's going to have to go in. Right, got another strap. Yeah, come in. The size of the arm.
Needed a bigger strap. Needed a bigger strap back. Sorry.
One, two, three, slide. Right, okay. Right, put your head back. All right. Right. HMA, you should have it. Yeah. I'll have another to be fair.
Where you going? Over the blocks.
So what they want us to do, I've never seen. Look at the board.
Right, keep the board level. It's going to keep level. Keep level. Keep that board level. Right. On the command of the head, the board will go down together, lads. Stay your knees together. Right, level.
So, as we can see, Rob, the Focus is now empty. We saw someone getting lifted out of the boot, and the Corsa's missing a door, and you got the occupants out of that quite quickly. Just talk us quickly through it.
Yeah, sure. So the Focus, the car on its side here, what the crew's opted to do is what we call tunnelling. So basically we work our way from the back of the vehicle to the front of the vehicle, and we remove all the seats, so a tunnel motion coming from the back to the forward. Really what we call quick space creation. So most seats in cars are unbolted, so casualty centred, so we can do that with an impact driver. Minimal noise, minimal vibration through the vehicle, which helps our patients inside, but also it means we can get them out a lot quicker. So that's what happened in the blue car. In the car here, the 3-door car, the casualty was in the rear of the car, but was laying across the seats with their feet nearest this side. So what the crews opted to do, based on the angle the casualty was on, was just to remove the door, remove one of the seats at the rear, and they actually brought that patient out feet first, which is something we don't do every time, but for this scenario that made perfect sense because it was the position and the direction that patient was sort of in, so it made sense just to bring them out in that method. The reason we took the door off is just to assist with our manual handling, so it allows us to get a bit further in the vehicle without stretching or injuring ourselves, and also create space to be able to get that patient out. Okay, and it was pretty lucky when that second pump got there, we were then able to start that medical care. In a scenario like that, we have to just make...
So they're just doing a big meeting, debrief at the end. They've explained through all the procedures that they did with the Focus that's on its side, the Corsa that they extricated someone out of the rear of the vehicle, and they also had this Astra which they got the driver to extricate themselves. So they're just having a debrief and then they're going to walk back through what they did. And what they're doing now is just having a debrief around the back of the EV. So this is, as the newer technology EVs come in, there's more of them on the road. So obviously if they get into an incident out on the road, they've got different systems, different threats, and the fire service have obviously got to train in different ways to look at that threat. So that's just what they're going through now. As Rob explained, they've been looking for changes in temperature, rapid changes in temperature to look for an indication of something called thermal runaway, which is when a battery starts combusting, and as soon as it gets into thermal runaway, the situation can develop very quickly. So training like this is essential.